William called. He said he'll explain everything once he gets back.
When will that be?
He said it might take him a few days. He's tying up some loose ends.
Do we think those loose ends will still have a pulse by the time he's done with them?
I don't know. I think in this case, he was talking about administrative loose ends. But maybe that's just... I don't know. I really don't.
I imagine the only person other than William himself who would know is Porter. Not that he's feeling particularly talkative anymore at this point. I'm not even exactly sure where he went. His car is gone, and his phone is going straight to voicemail.
What did the Shaw pack say? Was he telling the truth about the Bennetts? The pack heard him say they were part of the inversion.
They did. Milo's mate was face cloaked in the room and heard them talking about it. Porter may be a gaslighting prick some of the time, but he was telling the truth about that. What the Bennetts said to one another implied that Close-Knit had a direct hand in the inversion, and in supporting Close-Knit, that house had a hand in it as well.
Fuck. I didn't want to believe him. Not because I gave a shit about the Bennetts. If they were culpable to that disaster, then I'm glad they're both gone. I'm glad their house is in ruins. I agree with what William ordered him to do. I just didn't know how I could trust Porter when he was telling me those things. I've been out of the loop this entire time. I didn't know anything about this secret talk between the Bennetts. I didn't know they were in with Close-Knit. I didn't know any of that. And then suddenly, Alexander's dead. There's an impromptu trial. Christopher is executed on the spot, and Porter pulls me and Lovely away and says he's the one that did it. That everything I've known about William and Porter hasn't been true. A few hours before this, he was lying straight to my face about never having planned to bring his human lover here, and then admitting that he had lied about it just to stress me out because he thought it was funny. I didn't know how. I didn't know what to believe when he started telling me everything. I didn't know if he was just trying to cover for himself, or if this was all just another one of his sick jokes.
I don't know how much of what he said was true. How much of it might have been embellished, or speculation, or just plain made up. It's hard to know with him. It'd be one thing if the only times he lied were to maintain his cover, but he's also shown he'll do it just for his own amusement. He's done it to you, he's done it to me. His moral compass has never pointed true north. I don't blame you for having trouble believing him when he first started telling you everything. But one thing he said is absolutely true. The Bennetts and close-knit were in deep on the inversion, and were gearing up for something else.
Then he was telling the truth about something else, too. I guess it's not such a bad day after all. If he and William were able to gut that house and cut off one of close-knit's supply lines, then good.
It's a start, but it's gonna take more than that. You cut off one head and they grow two more. It seems like nothing that's ever brought against them sticks. No amount of bad press can seem to turn the diehards away from the cause either. There was that whole scandal and the raid on him a couple of years back, and even that didn't amount to much more than a bump in the road for him. If William's taken it upon himself to start acting directly against them, it's gonna take a lot more than knocking one of their supporting houses out from under them to finish this once and for all.
We're about to get our hands a lot dirtier, then.
Are you okay with that?
I need to hear it from William. No second-hand go-betweens, no twisted game of telephone. I need to know from him what the deal is, where the house stands, what the expectations are. Then I can decide.
Are you okay with it? It'd be pretty damn hypocritical of me to say we should just trust the department to handle every problem. They've shown how incompetent they can be, how much they can mishandle a problem, even a smaller one like Quinn, much less something as big as going after close-knit. They've been trying to for years, and have fuck all to show for it. But I have a problem blindly co-signing on vigilante justice just based on William's good intentions. I do think he's a good man, and I do think he's trying to do good. But I don't know that that's enough to fall in line with whatever his plans are without knowing anything more about it. I'm not Porter. I won't just do something because it's what's ordered of me, whether I agree with it or not. That's not how I operate. And I'm made that much more wary of it, considering the way William then swept in to take all the Bennett's assets for himself. Strategically, I get it. Cut off their means to regrow, strengthen your position at the same time, but that is a dangerous precedent. We all know what growing power can do to a person with good intentions. I can understand why William would keep you and I in the dark about what he's been doing in the shadows. I can see how that's in keeping with his character, shielding those that he thinks should be spared the messy, realities of being in his house, since we never wanted to be in it in the first place, and that choice was taken from us. But it's also convenient that he kept all of this from the two people who were most likely to have a problem with what he's doing. That's clearly kept his plans running nice and smoothly up until now. It's only trusted in people who won't voice any opposition to it, and will just do as ordered without question. There are things about all this that don't sit right with me. I need answers on those things.
I agree. You should be part of this talk when he gets back. He's kept you in the dark just as much as me. He owes you an explanation too.
I don't know that that's how he'll feel about it.
What do you mean?
It's not exactly the same, Vincent. I appreciate that you see me on that same level, deserving that same trust from him. But in a lot of ways, William's old school. I'm not his progeny. I haven't been around as long as you or Alexis. He didn't take me under his wing like he did Porter. He's always been kind to me, set me up with a home and with work, and I'm grateful for that. But I've always been more of a fringe element in the house. I believe that he feels he owes you an explanation. I don't know that he'll think he owes me one.
He does. When he insisted that both of us be at this summit, that we help operate it, that we put ourselves, our partners, and our friends in a situation that then became the site of an assassination at his order, putting all of our lives at that kind of risk, a risk he not only knew about, but caused, and didn't warn any of us, didn't try to keep us away from it. When he did that, he lost the authority to keep that information from us. I understand why he did it. I don't ultimately disagree with the results of it, but he at least owes all of us an explanation now, after the fact. Obviously, he's not going to have this be turned into a glorified press release to everyone that was attending the summit, but the least he can do is explain himself to his own house. If he can't truly keep us isolated from the dark sides of being a part of his house, like he's apparently been trying to do, then keeping those parts secret from us, while then making us participate in them, doesn't keep us safe at all. It puts us at that much greater of a risk, because we don't even know what's coming down the pipeline that he is telling us to stand in. You and your mate should be there when we meet him. If he has a problem with that, he can take it up with me.
Then let's see what he has to say.